Hi there, this week's question is, can chargers break electronics? My name is Steve, this is TQA Weekly. We're going to be talking about why standards are important and why using the correct charger is important. Starting off with the more informative, what happens if your charger's too weak? What happens with your charger if its power output is too high? And why standards are important, which is probably why the European Union enforces a standard for many of your electronics, be it cell phones, tablets, portable consoles, or any other electronics that you may have, like laptops, that require a charge. Starting off with, what happens if the charger is too weak? So for this scenario, which has actually happened to me, 12-foot cable, 1 ampere charger, and try to plug your phone on that and tell me what happens. Well, I can tell you what happens in my case. It is a very stupid thing to do, and you actually have to double the input on that cable for it to do anything because the resistance on the line is too high. It requires too much power to saturate the cable, and of course, your device will be using power faster than it's getting charged. So the battery will actually fail to dispense enough energy to your device before the charger is ever able to charge your device, meaning it's pointless. It won't harm anything, but you won't be charging anything at all in this case. Now, there is an alternate scenario where you grab any charger whatsoever, and this is more likely to happen with one of those aftermarket ones where you actually can change the pin. And let's say your device is meant for a 65 amp charger and you plug a 130 amp charger instead. Well, the first thing that might actually go out on your device is the charging circuit, because it more than likely has fuses and all other kinds of safety electronics on it because of what it's protecting. And hopefully that circuit is separate and replaceable from everything else in your device. Otherwise, you just basically bricked it, or at least you've bricked it unless you're willing to change that specific piece. And that's the most likely thing to happen, but it is not the only likely thing to happen. Because we also have to keep in mind that just about every electronics that we buy today has a lithium-ion battery. What happens if you put too much power to lithium-ion battery all at once? It can explode and catch fire. So there's a reason why the charging circuit has a whole bunch of safeguards in them, and it is specifically to prevent that from ever happening. So it is a really bad time to be putting the wrong charger on your electronics because of the nature of the batteries that we use. But let's say you, for some crazy reason, manages to skip the charging circuit and the battery altogether. Well, you can short out the entire board, and now everything is absolutely lost. And that is what happens when you use an adapter that dispenses too much power. So we go from the battery dies to the electronics gets bricked completely. And there is nothing you can do about it if you're not ready to get everything replaced in it or repaired. And in some cases, it's not necessarily repairable. So don't do that. That's basically what I'm going to say. If it's meant to have 65 watt charger, use that. If it's supposed to have 130 watt, go for that one, but don't use anything higher because that's not going to be helping your electronics. Now, this is why standards become important. Now, in the European Union, they are trying to enforce the Type-C connector. And this is because USB, Universal Serial Bus, has a bunch of standards that makes it easier for electronics to actually charge. And this means that you are far less likely to damage your electronics using a standard set of chargers and cables because there are standards set out there. Is this a perfect solution for everything? Absolutely not. And I think it's completely insane that the European Union is enforcing a single connector. However, if every manufacturer is forced to design to a specific connector, at least you know everything's going to work. And that's probably the standpoint from where they are standing. I just think it's a little bit ridiculous at the same time too. So ecological, simpler, does not allow innovation. But you won't be bricking your electronics nearly as fast as going to the store and buying the wrong charger, which is actually something that happens a lot. So, like this episode if you like it, dislike it if you didn't, share with those you think can benefit from this, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions for topics, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com or go to my website, tqaweekly.com, where you can see the show notes on this episode, past others, find other ways of subscribing, and of course, use the contact form to email me directly. And if you want to see me play video games, head over to twitch.tv/ZAxis1981, where I play video games every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.